you talk about needing all four of your dudes. I think every NBA fan was happy to see Klay Thompson return here in the last couple months. Klay Thompson is still averaging about 7 minutes less per game than his career minutes played average. How impressed have you been with Klay so far? And when do you think we'll fully see him unleashed?
It's been difficult to say that he hasn't been unleashed. Other than the rotations being a little bit tighter, I don't particularly see any limitation when he's on the court. It's just a matter of ramping up. And I would imagine that would happen game one after the All-Star break, because it did sound as if they were pretty close to pulling the trigger on that over the last couple of days. And a lot of things just sort of got pushed to the other side of Cleveland, which makes all the sense in the world. I would expect it in Portland, first game back. That would be my expectation, 30 minutes a night. Now, what have I noticed from him? He's a different player. It is not a bad thing. It's probably a good thing. What he does in terms of spacing is incredible. I think it takes the Warriors offense to another level, and they're going to need to get to that other level because they now have a viable secondary option who can just catch and shoot. And as much as they do have those guys, none of them are Klay Thompson. So that's a very positive thing. Defensively, I'd like to see him thrown in the fire a little bit more. I thought that these last couple of games would have been a good opportunity for him to try to do some more on-ball stuff. And they didn't do it. They kept putting Wiggins out there because that's Wiggins' role on this team. But Wiggins, again, dog-tired. He looks gassed. So I thought, hey, maybe throw Klay in there. He's got fresher legs, quote unquote. But they didn't decide to do that. I do think that he could show a little bit more as an off-ball defender. I do think that he could be a little bit more prudent with his shot selection. But I'm not going to hold any of this against him. What he's able to do as a playmaker and a creator now, I do think brings another level to the Warriors offense. I think that they will always close with him. I think that you have a really impressive Final Four that you can get weird and creative with that fifth guy when you're dealing with the four max players in Draymond, Steph, Wiggins, and Klay. That's about as good as you can do for the money, all things considered. So it's good. I expect it to get better. And if it doesn't, I still think it's enough. But I do think that there's more that's ready to be unleashed. This is a guy who still is searching for the feel. And he's copped a couple up until this point. But I don't think that he's in a rhythm yet. I don't feel like he's part of the grind yet. He feels somewhat removed on a minute by minute basis. And we see this manifest in just kind of stupid shots, for being honest. And it's very reminiscent of, what year was that? It was the year that he broke that single game 3-point record. So my presumption is it would have been the final year that they went to the finals. He sucked for the first month and a half of the season. He sucked something fierce. He was terrible. I ended up calling him in a column, what was it, a Big Lots version of Kobe Bryant. His shot selection was horrendous. He couldn't do anything effectively. It was catching and shooting and going off balance, and it was like way too confident a basketball player. And then he goes off in Chicago against one of the worst defensives I've ever seen in my life. It's amazing that they've gotten this far in this short of a period of time, where the second half, they were just giving up. They were like going for the record with him. And after that, he was just fine. I thought that maybe we'd see the same after Oklahoma City. I don't think that's totally the case, but maybe his head's just spinning a little bit. He'll never admit to it. He's Klay. He's above everything, right? Like he operates on a different plane of existence. But it's a lot. I can only imagine how challenging it has been emotionally, physically, and mentally to jump back in the middle of the season, in the middle of the fray. No, certainly mental ramp up time. Get in there, be awesome, knock down game-winning shot, just do all these things. That's a lot after 2.5 years out. And I would think that this little break might be good for sort of defragging all of those thoughts and getting him into a place where he can kind of, like I was saying with Wiseman, though, with a wider berth, just kind of have some parameters up, not trying out things like, okay, let's be clear and concise with what it is we're doing. Because when Klay is at his best, Klay is clean, right? It's catch, it's shoot, it's perfectly efficient. There's no extracurricular, no nonsense. It seems as if we got in a little bit of nonsense here. He's trying out some stuff. He wants to explore the space. I totally understand where he's coming from. Some of these things are positives that he can carry forward into the playoffs and beyond. But some of the stuff needs to be tampered down a little bit here because, hey, we're in crunch time and we're going to go with the 80% of the things or the 20% of the things that get us 80% of the results. Let's really get down to brass tacks. And I think that, a little bit of time away. And by the way, the Warriors schedule very fruitful for this. And only having 2 games remaining in March and, big gaps in front of the first game back and behind the first game back, I think it's a good opportunity for him to kind of tighten it up a little bit. And if he tightens it up, it's game over. It's game over because Steph needs to tighten it up a little bit. Everyone needs to tighten it up a little bit. But Klay, when he's tight, whew, that dude's dangerous.